All right, I want to welcome you guys to the call today. I'm really excited about this call. I had a different call planned out, and I just kept having this feeling that we needed to talk about something else. So I hope it gives you some insight. But first, I just wanted to let you guys know that you're worthless. And I'm totally disappointed in every single one of you. How did you ever think that coaching was for you? Seriously. Why are you even here? You're pretty pathetic. Could you just do everyone a favor and quit? Because nobody would miss you anyway. You will never be successful. You're a terrible human being, a terrible parent, a terrible coach, an awful friend, an awful spouse, and honestly, nobody cares about you. You know people are talking and laughing at you, right? Nobody thinks you can do this. So why do you think you can do this? You know how they say anyone can reach their goals? Yeah, not you. That's not for you. So when are you going to get it? All right. So that's pretty terrible, right? Saying that out loud makes me literally just want to crawl in a hole or curl up in my bed and cry. And I'm sure it doesn't feel very good for you guys either. So why do you allow yourself to speak to yourself that way? Whether it's out loud or in silence, when you speak this way, your heart listens. This kind of talk will ruin you. It will defeat you, and it will destroy you. And we need to stop defeating ourselves, to stop self-sabotaging ourselves, and to not let this control us. We need to doubt our doubts instead of doubting ourselves. So today I want to talk about doubting your doubts, because I've noticed this giant rain cloud kind of over our team. And I've actually noticed it not just in our team, but kind of in this whole coaching world. There's just been a lot of people that have been down and struggling and just feeling completely defeated and just they're struggling. And I know I'm guilty of it too. I've been struggling as well. And so I wrote this in hopes that maybe it can help you, because this is kind of what I've had to do to pick myself up, to stop listening to those negative feelings that I'm having and to just keep moving forward. So I'm going to be reading my notes because I wrote them from the heart and I don't want to miss anything. This is not me. I'm kind of, when I do calls, I fly by the seat of my pants and I, just have a few little things written down, but I really, really, really wanted something that was going to hit home and really help every single one of you to come out of this funk and to just, move forward. So here's the deal. No more negative self-talk and doubt. You were made for so much more than that, and it's time to make a shift. So how do we do that? First, we have to identify why and how we get in our own ways. And there tends to be 4 common reasons why we defeat ourselves, why we self-sabotage ourselves. Number 1, self-hate. 2, comfort. 3, rigidity. And 4, out of fear. So I'm going to touch on these a little bit to kind of give you insight. And I really want you to listen carefully and kind of decipher which one is holding you back. Why, what is it that's holding you back and keeping you in the place that you are right now? So we're going to talk about self-hate. So everyone is divided into 2 parts. Their personalities are kind of divided into 2 parts. You have this goal-directed, driven, positive part of you, and then you have this anti-self. This is your enemy. They're self-critical. This is the self-critical part of you. It's self-denying. It holds us back, and it keeps us in our place. It is shaped by early life experiences. And earlier actually a few days ago, as we were traveling, I posted a story on my Facebook, and I'm going to just retell it. So I'm sorry if you've already heard it, but I really wanted to share it because it applies to this. So we were traveling, and we were in South Dakota, and I took my little girl in. She had to go to the bathroom. She's 4. And we walked into the bathroom, and we're standing in the stall, and I overheard this little girl, and I'd seen her running behind us, and she was probably about kindergarten age. And she just was so upbeat and happy. And her mom was kind of grumpy, I could tell. I could just hear her kind of getting after her. And we were both in the bathroom. And in the next stall, I hear the little girl telling her mom, "Mom, I'm a princess." And really quickly, this mother snapped at her and said, "No, you're not. We are white trash." And the little girl started to cry. And she goes, "But I am a princess." And the mom says, no, we are white trash, and that's all we will ever be. And it literally broke my heart in two. And I thought, how sad is it that this little girl is growing up being squashed, being told that she is not a princess, that she is not of worth. And how sad is it that this woman telling this little girl probably had the same thing happen to her, right? Like, we know that there's these vicious cycles, and how sad is it to think that this mother probably had a similar situation happen to her growing up. And I remember walking out, and Adeline, she's crazy, and she's hilarious, and we went out, and I told Struan, and Adeline looked at me and goes, Mom, that is just so sad. And then I hugged her, and I told her it was, and we decided to take our picture. And there's a backstory behind the picture that I posted, because when we went to, instead, you know how you say cheese when you take a picture? Adeline yelled at the top of her lungs, I'm a princess! And I thought, and I just smiled at her, and I looked at her and said, yes, you are. And it just, this is part of our self-doubt and our self-hate and all of that. It's shaped by early life experiences. And while you can't control those experiences that have happened to you in your life, you've got to figure a way to overcome them, to not let them define you. There are people in this world who walk throughout this world because they have terrible parents or because they came from crummy situations, that's just the way I am. I can't be any better. But there are also people out there who take that and run with it, who do not let that define them. And so you have to decide how you're going to, you're going to take your life circumstances. So as part of this, in some ways, we accept this as the truth. And we can be affected by our environment as well. If we grew up miserable, lonely, felt like we had no friends, we carry that with us into adulthood. It's not like all of a sudden you hit 18 and it just disappears. Those are things you have to work through. So number one is self-hate. You have to identify, is that something that you struggle with? Self-hate. Are you always, letting those things that have happened to you in your past define who you are today? And are you carrying this baggage around that is defeating you, and holding you back from reaching your potential? Number two is comfort. It keeps us in our box. It's easier. It floods us with self-soothing thoughts. So there's this comfort thing, like that holds us down. Things like, it's okay, have that extra piece of pie. Kick back, relax, you have the time. You deserve it. Don't worry about your goals today. They'll be there tomorrow. So this one is sometimes hard to identify because it's this little soft voice inside of us, and it's almost a parental thing. So it's like this authority that we listen to ourselves like, well, yeah, I do deserve this. I've worked hard. And if you keep letting this negative self-talk, it's a soft parental voice, and it's a negative self-talk that keeps you safe. But it's really not keeping you safe. It may be comfortable at first, but then it escalates, and it becomes self-punishing. Like, you're such a loser. Nobody loves you. You're so stupid. Why would you do something like that? And so that's another one, this comfort zone of keeping you in your place where you belong. So it kind of goes hand in hand with this self-hate, because like that little girl was told, no, we're just white trash. That's her comfort now. She doesn't know any different. She doesn't know that there's this thing that she can do outside of, her comfort zone of her, where she belongs. The third one is rigidity. It's a negative self-image, but we don't challenge it because it's familiar. We start to make rules for ourselves. So I mentioned Adeline before. This little girl, she is my test, and I love her so very much. But she is someone who creates rules for herself. It's part of her little quirks. And when we were going to doctor's visits and, kind of trying to figure out what she was dealing with internally, they told me that she creates her own rules. And they're not necessarily rules that apply to everyone. But for example, Adeline is someone who has to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So say that we have brunch at 11, that doesn't count, because we still have to have 2 more meals after that, because she needs to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so how many times do we do that for ourselves? We have the same parking spot. We have, the same church pew, or we have to do this. Like I have a system in the shower, I shower the exact same way. Like I never miss, we create these rules for ourselves. So, and it's based on defenses that we believe to protect ourselves, but ultimately it hurts us. So, yelling as a child to be heard is something that we've done. We're little kids like to get attention, so they scream and yell. But if you use that in adulthood, it's going to push others away. So what we have to do is we tend to see things as cans or can'ts or shoulds or shouldn'ts. We see it in black and white. And I'm really guilty of seeing everything in black and white. I don't have this gray area because it's rigid. It's either right or it's wrong. We should do this or we shouldn't do this. And yes, number 3 is rigidity. Okay, number 4, fear, which I think is a big one for a lot of people. Fear is the root of what holds us back. Fear of unknown failure, inner voice, feeling like we have too much to lose or that we have to face pain or rejection. You are so much more resilient than you think. The more fully we live and love, the more sadness we are bound to experience. It's true. The more that we go for our goals, think about it. Before you were a coach, what failures did you have to face? For me, I really didn't have many failures to face because I wasn't doing much with my life. Yes, I was a mom, and yes, it was a failure if I didn't get the laundry done for the day, but it didn't hurt as much, I guess, is that what I'm trying to say. So you have to understand that the more that you do and the more you experience, you're going to see both sides of the spectrum. We are bound to experience, so the more sadness we feel, the more we are bound to experience. Our inner critic shields us from feeling of pain and as a result from joy. So you know how sometimes people like to protect themselves? If you're protecting yourself from sadness, you're also protecting yourself from joy. It keeps you in a state of numbness. I personally can say that I've been a person who's walked around numb, zombie mode, just kind of living on autopilot, not feeling anything. And when I did feel things, it was really extreme. I was either really, really, really down or really, really, really up, but there was no middle. I was just very, and then for the rest of the time, I guess there was a middle. I was just not feeling anything at all. So it keeps you in a state of numbness, and we must identify and actively ignore this inner voice inside our head. So do you know why and how you get in your own way? Do you relate with any of these traits that I just mentioned? So I want you to kind of think about it for a second. What out of those 4 do you feel holds you back the most? And why do you feel like it holds you back the most? Maybe it is, baggage that you're carrying around from your past. Maybe it's the inner critic inside of you just, tearing yourself down. Maybe you're scared. You have to identify that or you're never going to be able to move past it. So now, once you have identified it, though, now what? How do you stop those doubts from consuming you and setting up shop in your mind? Here's a few tips that I came up with. Number 1, you have to turn your emotions into motion. You've got to get lost in your passion. We can only do the best that we can in the moment. So take your emotional energy and channel it. Feel your emotions and let them out. If you have to have a sob session, do it. Break down and cry. It's okay. You have to channel your emotions into something. Because if you don't, what are you going to do? You're going to go in autopilot mode. You're going to crawl into your bed. You're not going to get out of bed. You're going to fall into this major depression, and it's hard to get out of. There's this really awesome quote that I read that said, I learned to play in pain. Although injury, bruises, and bumps came, I never allowed myself the luxury of slowing down or quitting. You have to find something to focus on and commit to take action. Don't allow it to own and control you. So take those emotions and pour them into a project. Pour them into something that you love. Something that you can create and look at and be proud of. It's okay to pour your emotions. You think about masterpieces that happen. And a lot of times, good things come from sadness, from tragedy. I've seen beautiful paintings created when somebody's spouse passed away and they poured themselves into their work or music or writing. So find that thing that you can pour yourself into and just let that envelop you and let that just take over so that you don't feel numb. Number 2, throw yourself into personal development and not just something off the shelf. Don't just grab something because it's convenient. Find something that attacks what you're dealing with head on. Struggling with negative self-talk, if you're struggling with that, read or listen to something that speaks to you, that equips you with tools that are going to help you get out of that funk, that are going to help you identify, when those feelings start to come on, like, I've got to channel something, I've got to do this, I've got to call a friend, I've got to go for a walk. Practice daily affirmations. I'm sure you all have seen my mirror. On my bathroom mirror, I've taken a dry erase marker and I've wrote positive affirmations. And I stand in front of my mirror every single day and I say to myself, I am smart, I am brave, I am passionate, I am driven, I am a blogger, a clean eater, a moneymaker, I am a child of God, I'm a loving mother, I am an amazing spouse. Whatever it is, write it and say it to yourself. And did I feel completely stupid in the beginning? Yes. But when I started to embrace it, I started to feel emotions and I started to realize that I am that person. I am someone of worth. I am someone who can do amazing things. Everything that I've dreamed of, I can do. So you've got to flip the switch on that negative talk. And the minute you start to hear yourself doubt yourself or say negative things to yourself, you've got to start counting your blessings and you've got to start telling yourself, turning those negatives into positives. Because that is what's going to help you get out of that funk. It's going to help you start to build up that courage inside of you, and you're going to find that inner strength and that inner voice inside of you that's saying, I can do this. I am a fighter. You've also got to come up with a game plan. And like I mentioned before, when these feelings start to surface, you've got to have a go-to, whether it's you call somebody or you go for a walk or you work out or you throw yourself into personal development. You've got to have a game plan before these feelings start to happen, or you're going to slowly fall into this hole, and it's going to be really hard to dig yourself out. So in closing, I wanted to read some quotes that I came across. I don't know if any of you have heard it. It's one of my favorite speeches. It's by Jim Carrey when he gave a commencement speech. And I'm just going to read some of the highlights out of it that I really love. So fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about your pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear, disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. We are not the avatars we create. We are not the pictures on the film stock. We are the light that shines through it. All else is just smoke and mirrors, distracting but not truly compelling. I've often said that I wish people could realize all of their dreams of wealth and fame so they could see that it's not where you'll find your sense of completion. Like many of you, I was concerned about going out in the world and doing something bigger than myself until someone smarter than myself made me realize that there is nothing bigger than myself. My soul is not contained within the limits of my body. My body is contained within the limitlessness of my soul. One unified field of nothing dancing for no particular reason except maybe to comfort and entertain itself. As this shift happens in you, you won't be feeling the world. You'll be felt by it. You will be embraced by it. You look at people sometimes and you see them and you think, well, that's great. I could never be that kind of person. How do I even go about becoming a top coach? How do I even come about becoming an amazing writer? People fly so high and it can seem overwhelming, like that's great for them, but how do I do that? This is the voice of your ego. If you listen to it, there will always be someone who seems to be doing something better than you. No matter what you gain, ego will not let you rest. It will tell you that you cannot stop until you've left an indelible mark on the earth, until you've achieved immortality. How tricky is the ego that it would tempt us with promise of something we already possess? So just relax. Relax and dream up a good life. Your job is not to figure out how it's going to happen for you, but to open the door in your head. And when the door's open in your real life, just walk through it. Don't worry if you miss your cue. There will always be another door opening. They always keep opening. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. I don't know if that's true, and I'm sure I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style, and that's all part of the fun. Why not take a chance on faith as well? Take a chance on faith. Not hope, but faith. I don't believe in hope. Hope is a beggar. Hope walks through the fire, but faith leaps over it. You are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world, and after you walk through those doors, you will only ever have two chances, love and fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart. So I absolutely love this because I know so many of us are, we kind of are chained by our fears and our self-doubt and this negativity, and that tends to be the way of the world. Like, there's so many people around us, you get on Facebook, and unless you have, a bunch of people that you follow who are positive people, before you became a coach, there was a lot of dirty laundry being aired. And think about how often that brought you down, and you didn't even realize it. Or we downplay ourselves because that's the way it's supposed to be, because we wouldn't want to be a narcissist. We wouldn't want to feel like, we're talking, that we're just full of ourselves. But the case is you guys are amazing. I'm amazing. And I possess these qualities, and so do you, that nobody else has. And I can bring a light to this world that is just my light shining, And so it's okay to toot your own horn in a way that, is positive and sheds light for other people, and that shows them that they can do amazing things with their lives, that they don't just have to be white trash, that they don't just have to be a victim of their circumstances, that they don't have to be this prisoner of self-defeat and self-hate. So I know it's hard to pull yourselves out of funks. I get it. I've been there. I've been there recently, and it's hard, but I've made a choice every single day that I'm going to do something good with these feelings that I'm even if it's just sharing my struggles with somebody, that's making a difference. That's showing other people that, look, life doesn't have to be so dark and dreary. Even if the world seems to be that way, there's hope. I know he doesn't like hope. I believe in hope. There's hope. There's faith. There's this amazing world out there waiting for you, but you have to break free of these chains of self-defeat and just go for it. Shake off those feelings and just go for it. So it's time to start doubting your doubts, to stop treating yourself as if you are a nobody, to give yourself more credit, and to understand you have great potential, that others see it in you, and now is the time that you do too. Don't ever let anyone dull your sparkle, especially yourself. So I want to thank you for jumping on this call. If you have any questions, I'll open it up really quick. I hope this has helped in some way. I've learned a lot just by preparing this call. I'm really grateful for everyone who jumped on. I know it can be hard to shake all of this off, but you can do it. We can do this. We've got this. There's amazing things just around the corner. You just got to keep going. So thanks for jumping on. I will post the quotes in the page. Let me know which quotes, just any of the quotes that I did. I'll do that. So, all right, thanks for jumping on, and I will see you guys in the team page.